Hello everyone, welcome to Lotus Heart Tarot. I am so happy to have you here. I just want you to know that I have been recording every day and that Mercury retrograde is definitely here. So there have been a few days where I have not been able to get the reading uploaded. And so it may seem like things are pre-recorded. They're not. Like, I'm recording every single day, but they're just not getting uploaded. So because all the readings sort of play on each other, I don't feel like I can not upload something, just a reading that I've recorded. So I'm recording them anyway. I mean, I'm putting them up anyway. And if you put more than one thing up in a day, YouTube's algorithm is weird and it might not notify you. And so I'm just kind of uploading one a day, but it's getting, like a little bit off kilter. All right. Anyway, thanks for always bearing with me and being understanding. I appreciate it. Okay, here we go, guys. For Pisces, please, Spirit. Also, please excuse my fingernails. I literally have not had time to polish them. All right, for Pisces, please, Spirit. Guys, you cannot make this up. You keep getting the same kind of energy. Now another energy that has been in the background is moving to the foreground with this energy of happy, success, and a consciousness of lack and teacher. I got this, I think I've gotten this in a few readings recently, but there's something about, having kind of paved your way through a challenging or difficult time, and you being someone who, for one thing, I feel a bit like led by example. You, like, people have observed you and have learned from you in the way that you have navigated some difficult spaces. You may be surprised, like, you may not realize this, like, people may never tell you, but I'm getting like, possibly in a workplace or in a family, you have had to deal with someone who's been deceptive, or someone who's, said things about you behind your back. And you see how she is just like, whatever, her back is turned toward it. She's kind of like, whatever you're saying about me behind my back doesn't affect me. Like, I don't care what you're saying. It's none of my business. And it feels to me like other people have faced the same situation and have had a seemingly much harder time dealing with it. And I feel like you are like just showing people an alternate way to deal with it, or kind of how to, deal with it without dealing with it, or like how to just not engage in it, or how to like just not feed into it or something. Anyway, I do think people are watching you, and you may be surprised too. Like, in your family, it could be like children, or like, that preteen age. Someone might be struggling at school with something like this, and they might see the way that you're handling it in your family or with other people, and they may be really learning a valuable thing from this. I'm also getting here, like, literally learning from your suffering, or learning from something difficult, and then passing that knowledge on to other people who go through it, like, more intentionally, like not just leading by example, but also putting it to words, expressing it, giving other people the knowledge. And especially with this consciousness of lack and happy success, it feels to me like there is something where, you know, it's sort of like I stayed in this situation for a long time. You may, like, some of you may be parents, like, and your kids are really watching you, really observing you, and they may even, like, say something to you at some point, like, I watched you go through this and I learned so much from it, or from you. Like, you just might not be aware of necessarily how or who you're affecting and to what degree. Like, I'm just getting this energy of like a significant importance. You know, like, it may have taken you, like, I'll tell my kids, like, it took me until I was 50 to learn that, and you know that when you're 25. Well, they learned some of that by watching me go through it, you know, by being witnesses to it, right? And so there is, and even if it's not that they're doing it the exact same way I did it, they learned from it, and they learned what they made decisions in their mind, what they would and wouldn't tolerate. Like, I keep getting that, like, the energy of children, especially like preteen, or like 10 to 16, you know, like that age range of, like, really being observant of you. So I don't know who, I don't know if they're your kids, nieces, nephews, cousins, like, I don't know what this is, but it is giving me, like, or it's like, as those kids age, and maybe they're the same kids, I have no idea, but it's not just kids, it's like coworkers and stuff. But it may be that someone actually end up coming to you for advice. They may actually say, you know, I watched you go through that space and, like, keep your place of peace, and I'm going through something similar, and I just want your advice. And what I'm seeing here with the consciousness of lack and happy success, it is giving me like a mindset of, you know, when you have a consciousness of lack, these things really bother you. They really get to you because they're serving as confirmations for what you already feel. You're seeing what you're looking at. If you have an abundant mindset and you are, you know, focused on your own, like, goals, desires, dreams, future, you know, whatever that energy is, you don't see it because you don't care, because it's irrelevant, because it's nothing but a distraction. And when you truly, in your heart of hearts, believes that there is more than enough, your whole life will begin to reflect it. These things will fall away. These situations won't be in resonance with you. It's not to say that people won't be jealous and that they're not going to talk about you. They are, but you won't even notice. It'll be irrelevant to you. It will have no bearing, no effect. You won't even pay it any mind. And so it's just like, do you see what I'm saying? It's kind of, it's giving me, you know, well, when I was in a mindset that maybe I wasn't worth it, or maybe I didn't deserve it, or maybe there isn't enough in the world and that I have to fight for my piece of pie, or I have to chase things, or I have to be better than other people, or whatever. And I realized that it's impossible for me to be better than anyone. We're all equal. We're all, you know, living, breathing miracles. And that there is more than enough for everyone. That's when everything started to switch, because then I knew that nothing could stop me from getting what my end goal was, other than me, and other than, you know, me not being in resonation to it, me not believing in it, me not feeling it, you know. And of course you're going to have days where those things are harder to come by, right? And you can sort of feel like you're slipping. But when your mindful awareness is on it, you will, it's like someone who's kind of, I'm getting like slipping off the side of a cliff, and they're just sort of holding on with their hands and their fingers, digging in. And then all of a sudden, it's like their mindset becomes aware of, okay, if I slip off the edge of this cliff, it's the end. And all of a sudden they start to fight. You know, it's going to take me right back down to where I was, and I will lose all this ground that I made. They will start to fight. They will start to dig in. They will start to engage their muscles. They will start to think about using their feet and their legs. They will start to think about swinging their body. They will start to think about all the options. They will start seeing possibility. They will start seeing opportunities, and they will get into their deepest reserve inside themselves and say, I'm not gonna fall. Like, that can't happen. I'm not doing that. I'm not making this climb again. I'm doing it from here right now. I have the strength. I have the power. I can do this. I'm a living, breathing miracle. I'm doing it. And they'll dig in and they'll do it. And you know, that energy will take you to a new place. It will take you to a new experience. It will take you to a new cycle. And this is one where you are, I feel like, less a student and more a teacher. And I think you have been. I think people have been watching your trial and error, or even just the way that you have navigated. I keep getting this, like, no pressure to be perfect kind of energy here of, like, it is sometimes the struggle that teaches everyone the most, you know, the person struggling and the person around the person struggling, you know? So it's not like, oh, you can't make a mistake, or you can't slip, or you can't have a moment where your awareness sort of, you know, disappears, right? It's, you know, you are human, the good, the bad, the ugly, the imperfect, you're all of it. And so are they. And so, you know, presenting like it doesn't affect you, or like you don't have a bad day, isn't really going to help anyone. But really, you know, acknowledging that, or, you know, whatever, it's just like, I feel something so honest here, you know, so true and so human and so honestly beautiful. These aren't lavender, but I am like smelling lavender, or getting like lavender, some kind of reference to lavender. I don't know if that means anything to anyone, but I'm also getting these poppies. So I don't know if it's plants, flowers, lavender, and poppies, literally. I don't know what. You have stolen coming out in reverse. It is in a relationship. You know what this is giving me? You know how sometimes when you really invest in a relationship and you feel like you put everything into it, you may have invested years of your life, you may have invested like your emotion, your love, your money, your all of your resources, any kind of resource, right? And there is this tendency to sort of look at all those resources as having been wasted. And that gives power to something that you're walking away from. It gives power to your past. It gives power to kind of a negative entity. And with this stolen in reverse, it's giving me this vibe of no longer looking at it that way, of really and truly coming to a place of peace and acceptance. And I feel like I say this all the time, but of, you know, like, you know, I learned a lot, you know, I got this good thing out of it, I got that good thing out of it. And when your mind starts to go to, I can't believe I spent 10 years with that person, that, you know, just, you know, never showed up, never materialized. I invested, I tried to help heal, I tried to bring, you know, my highest and best to this person, da 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 da. And, you know, it just like never materialized. It never did anything. It's like every time you start to think that way, or every time you start to look at it that way, it's like catching yourself and shifting it into those gifts that you know that you got. And it's giving me a little bit of like irritation around this, or like, um, like but I want to acknowledge the truth, but I want to say that I did waste 10 years and that person never did show up for me. And so it bothers me to just not say that, or to not think that. Like, I don't know what this energy is, but then it's like, the more you program yourself, the more you remind yourself, the more you stop yourself when you're starting to go down that path, whatever it is. I'm just using these as examples, although I am connecting to it in a way that is giving me chills, that you catch yourself and say, no, I'm doing this. You're establishing a different pathway. You're reprogramming yourself and your narrative about this past situation. It's kind of like you're establishing how you're always going to look at this thing, and you're either going to always kind of look at it like a waste, or like something that took something from you that you didn't want to give, stole something, right? Or you're going to look at it like, it didn't work out. I'm at a place of peace and acceptance with it, because I got this good thing out of it, or these good things out of it. And that irritation comes from the fact that you're reprogramming yourself, the fact that you're not letting your mind do what your mind has always kind of done, go down the easy sort of pathway. You're consciously shifting into a different level of consciousness. We had a like flood in our garage once, not at this house, but this is a long time ago. And I used to have a really hard time getting rid of stuff. And so we had like so much stuff, like from my childhood, like from just so much stuff, because I just didn't get rid of it. And we'd moved, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be really hard on myself and I'm going to get rid of a lot of stuff. But I didn't. I got rid of some stuff, but like really in the grander scheme of things, I didn't get rid of a lot of stuff. And so we had this flood, and at first, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing. Like all this stuff that I've had since I was a kid that I loved, but it was in my garage. Like I never looked at it. It wasn't a part of my life. I wasn't using it. I wasn't enjoying it. It was just in my garage. Like I knew I still had it, and that was it, and I moved it around from place to place. It got ruined, and I was so upset. I was like, this is priceless memories. This is priceless stuff. I'll never get this back. Like, oh my gosh, like this flood took this from me. And I really felt that way. And my husband looked at me and he said, babe, he was like, we've done nothing but cart that around. I've never seen you open the box. I've never seen you look at it. I've never seen you try to find a place to bring it into the house, or, anything. He was like, they were just memories in a box taking up space in the garage. And I was like, no, you don't understand. I'm sentimental and it had value to me. And he was like, what did you really lose though? Don't you still have the memories? Don't you still? And it was like, that entire process and coming to a place of actually feeling liberated and good about no longer having it. And I felt gratitude to the flood in the end. But shifting into that mindset was very hard and challenging. And it did take falling backwards and then pulling myself forward. And now, 20 some years later, I'm nothing but grateful. I think of all the times I moved, all the stuff I have in my garage now, which most of the stuff in my garage I do use all the time. Like I keep a lot of paint and canvases and, art supplies and craft stuff out there, and I bring it in when I need it. But like I wouldn't be able to be that organized or to be able to have easy access to it if it was competing for space with all that crap that I was just carrying around, you know. So, you know, every once in a while I'll see a strawberry shortcake doll, like the original ones, and I'll be like, oh my gosh. And, you know, like I had those and I kept those and you know, but actually now, like every once in a while they'll say, you'll know you were a child of the 80s if this stuff matters to you. And it brings me a lot of delight to see those pictures and to remember playing with those toys. But like, do I need to have them? Do I need to carry them around? I really don't. Okay, so there's something here with a shift in a mindset, and I do keep getting like wasting years of my life, wasting resources, wasting energy, trying to invest in something that's always slipping through my fingers, and feeling like someone took something from me that I wasn't really willing to give, and how that doesn't serve me. And yes, it is a narrative that I can adopt, and there is truth in it if that's what I want to see it as. Or there is truth in other things as well. Do you know what I'm saying? Like maybe I lost thousands of dollars in strawberry shortcake dolls, but really, how much has it freed up for me? How much has it liberated to me? And how much do I value that liberation versus whatever the strawberry shortcake dolls were worth? You know what I'm saying? Okay. If you know, you know. You have 1111 in wanting. This is giving me what you are seeking is seeking you. When the time is right, what you are seeking is going to show up in your life. You know, someone, this eye with the sun coming through it, someone else is looking for you. You are someone's answer to their question. You are someone's fulfillment. You know, you are that 1 in a million to someone. You absolutely are. So this is trusting and believing and understanding that when the time is right, this is going to be revealed to you, but it's definitely out there and it's definitely looking for you. You aren't some anomaly that doesn't have someone that would hugely benefit from having you in their life. No, you absolutely have, you know, multiple soulmates out there, but definitely someone who can rise to meet your occasion and will, because you are who they have always been looking for. All right. Oh my gosh, you know what? Wow, that is so crazy. When this teacher came out, I wanted to say, this is evidence that you have graduated. And we keep getting this graduation energy from a cycle. That like when someone comes to you for advice, it's evidence that you have navigated the situation strategically, and someone's coming to ask you for your strategy. How did you do it? You know, how did you find the gold? How did you, navigate that really difficult terrain? How did you do that? Because it looks, like you're surfing, like you have it all figured out. You're making it look effortless. You're making it look confident and directed. And, there are people watching you. They are taking notice. I do feel people are going to begin to ask you for advice. Like, how did you do it? And I think your advice is going to have a lot more impact because people will have witnessed you doing it. Whenever you can say, I know this from experience, I've done this, or when this happened to me, I always find those to be the most powerful stories, is like, because I learned something not just from you telling me directly, but for you illustrating it to me. That's why I probably use a lot of illustrations when I read, because that's how I get the most from it. I can figure out what it means to me, or how I might look at it, or how I might do it when I hear things like that specifically. I love Tara Brach. I feel like she is such a good, storyteller as she illuminates things. Things that she, through her own experience, has uncovered for herself. All right, here we go. Wow. I really feel, Pisces, like one of the major themes of your life coming up is either an important relationship or important relationships. Oh my gosh, look at that. The Two of Cups fell upright and the Queen of Cups fell like face down. You know what I'm saying? Those things matter to me. You just haven't seen it yet. You just haven't found it yet. And for some of you, you may already know this person. You may already be involved with this person. But the true extent of, this is not just an emotional love. This is a spiritual love. This is something that can carry you. It's also, you see how in the Two of Cups, she's just floating in that water. It's something that I feel like at some point will be effortless, and you will realize for all the relationships that you tried so hard for. I got my hair done the other day, and I was talking to my hairdresser, and she was saying, people aren't willing to work in relationships anymore. And I was going to say, I honestly think, I know that my husband and I had, growing pains that we had to get through in the beginning, figuring out how to really depend on someone and how to show up for someone that's major. And it does require work, and it requires communication, and it requires being uncomfortable, and it requires facing your shadows, and it requires, being willing to acknowledge your weaknesses and work on things yourself and with other person. But when you get to where I am now, it is much more like floating on your back in water. It's much more effortless. You don't have to do that. That's I feel like the payoff. But you have to start with good ingredients in order to get there. You have to start with two people who, it's like the Chariot, feel like they can match each other stride for stride and have the same vision and want to go in the same place. When someone really isn't capable of matching your energy. When you're always going to be pulling someone along, or, trying to accommodate certain things, or, overlook certain things, or come to peace with certain things. And that. And that makes everything that much more difficult. But when someone shows up consistently and earns their way in, that tells you so much, because that is really, I think that's what is required to get through the early years, But I feel here with the Queen of Cups and the Two of Cups, you do have a significant relationship coming in. And I do think you have potentially other relationships, possibly even business relationships, coming in that are going to make your life easier, that are going to make it so you don't have to work so hard, kind of just to navigate the usual spaces is what I'm getting. So I'll go with that. So with the Moon card, you may have something in your life now, a relationship now, and you may not realize how significant or important this relationship is going to be, or even the depth of someone else's feelings for you, or even how this relationship is really, I'm getting taking stress away from your central nervous system and sort of relaxing your subconscious mind so that it can release things. Okay, I don't know, that's what I'm getting. So this is a healthy, healing kind of relationship. It's not stressful. It's not, you're not in fight or flight. You're just sort of working your way through it, I don't know. But I just don't think that its full grandeur has been revealed to you yet. And for some of you, this entire person or these relationships haven't shown up yet, but they will. Yeah, it's coming towards you. You have the Empress that came out turning and ended up sort of crooked and upside down with this Two of Cups. And it's giving me this energy of kind of, you know, when you're in relationships where other people do not treat you like the Empress, or do not see you like the Empress, or do not, you know, like however, whatever, there's this energy of kind of it affecting the way that you see yourself, or even it sort of blocking your own ability to manifest or alchemize, or, you know, be your highest strength, because you're giving so much to keeping that afloat that you can't almost focus on your own process, or your own what is this, like, metamorphosis into this energy of the Empress. And this, it's kind of like, but when a relationship is right, or when relationships are right, it makes you feel like you are, you know, this unique masterpiece kind of energy, you know, like, and then you begin to see it yourself because you're feeling it, because that's how you're being treated, that's how you're being received, right? And then with the Eight of Wands and the Queen of Cups here, you guys keep getting the Eight of Wands energy. And so for some of you, this can be communication coming in, but for others of you, this is like returning back to yourself and understanding the value of who you are in route into this Empress energy. And it's opportunities coming towards you, love coming towards you, you know, all the good things, you know, being kind of almost getting this like tailwind towards success and victory. And with the Four of Swords here, this is removing a lot of suffering and just getting clarity, you know, kind of, you know, choosing how you're going to see something, choosing how you're going to look at something. All right, I just dropped about half the deck. Let me just shuffle it up. Oh my gosh, Pisces, look at this. Holy confirmation. Wow, that is wild. Oh my goodness. So you have the Devil on the bottom of the deck, and you have the Seven of Cups with the Three of Cups here. There's something here where with the Three of Cups, it's giving me like a relationship that you have with someone else, but there's something else involved in it. It could be a third party, but it sure doesn't have to be. It could be someone else's wounds. It could be someone else's limited beliefs. It could be someone's past, or, you know, their relationship with their parents. It could be your own. It's like, you know, there's only supposed to be two things in a relationship. Not that they can't work other ways, but this feels like, it's giving me like, you know how, what is it, a clam is like this, you know, and it's like two shells that work together perfectly, but then there's like this irritant that's in there, and it's like making the pearl, which is like its own entity. But until it becomes a pearl, which, okay, I don't know if that's a good example, because a pearl, like, you might look at that as something valuable, but it's not to the oyster, right? It's painful to the oyster. It's something that the oyster is irritated by. And it's like, maybe you can't always name it. Like, maybe you can't always say, you know, this is what that is, right? But there's something in there that's just perpetually irritating the energy between the two shells, like the two halves that are, you know, what it needs to make it work, you know, to make it live, to make it function. The pearl isn't necessary for life, right? It isn't, and it's not, you know, it's just, and the pearl is like building and getting bigger. And when there is something like that, an irritant between two people, it does usually grow. It usually does kind of snowball until it becomes something that you can't work with anymore. And that's what it's kind of giving me with this Three of Cups and the Seven of Cups. It's like there's something wrong here, and you know, you kind of want to solve the problem, but like, what is it going to take to solve it? And you know, always kind of looking for a solution or looking for an answer. And when you're doing that, you're directing a lot of energy in that way, and it's not serving to push the connection forward. It's you know, it's just, you know, I don't know, the focus on it is kind of growing it, is sort of making it bigger and making it more insurmountable or more difficult to work with. This Seven of Cups, Three of Cups, if that makes sense to you, that's what I'm trying to, like, I don't know. And it's like, then it kind of also gets to this point where it's like, you look at it and you're like, well, I tried this, 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 and I tried this, and you know, nothing seems to have worked. Nothing seems to have made it better. And it's like I'm running out of things. I'm running out of options as to like how I can even address this or fix this or change this. Yeah, I don't know exactly how to like further communicate that, but then you have the Ace of Wands, the Star, and the Empress. There's something that you really want here that comes into play, and this comes into play in divine timing, and it was always yours, and it was always out there, and it always belonged to you, and it was always looking for you, and there is some element of fate here. And then you have the Empress energy upright and like crowning this gorgeous, what is this, like a upslope, you know, I don't know, like climax. It's the climax of this climb here that starts with getting something that you really, really want. And I feel like that's on both ends. I'm going to clarify these energies, and then I think I am going to clarify that Devil just to see if there's something else that we want to know. Okay. Whew. What interesting energy. Okay, there's you have the Four of Pentacles and the Two of Swords in reverse, clarifying this like Seven of Cups, Three of Cups energy, this clam with the pearl in it. And again, I mean, even with the Two of Swords with that moon in between, you see that? This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the visual that they're giving me. Right there it is. That's so insane. That is so crazy. These things keep happening to me right now. But it's like I'm holding on. There is a scarcity mindset involved in this. This is what I have. I need to keep it together. I need to hold it together. I need to hold on to it. You know, I might not find anything else, or this might be the only chance I ever get, or, you know, I can't let this go. And this does stem from some kind of scarcity mindset where you really don't believe that there is more than enough, or you really don't believe that all people are equal and you are as worthy as everyone else that has what you want. You know, you think that somehow you're left out of it because you don't deserve it, or you're not worthy of it, or you are not a living, breathing miracle in the same way other people are, right? That's part of facing our shadow, right? And like, yeah, I would say most people that end up very healthy and are emotionally intelligent have probably questioned this, or have possibly felt a scarcity mindset at some point, and had to work through it. I won't say that everyone has, but you know, typically the people that don't work through that aren't really emotional people, or aren't really sensitive people, or compassionate or empathetic. You know, it's through our suffering or going through those things that we develop that. Typically, I don't want to say it has to be. I certainly don't know that to be true. But yeah, so like it comes to this space with the Two of Swords, there's this element of, I'm not opening my heart to any other possibility, and I'm not seeing any other possibility. I'm not looking at any other possibility. So like this can be where a relationship really isn't working out and it's actually really harming you. But you're holding on to it. You're not letting it go because you don't really, at the bottom of the barrel, like you might tell yourself a lot of things, especially with the Two of Swords there, but you're keeping yourself trapped or stuck in a situation that isn't really benefiting you. That stems from a place of thinking that you can't do better or something like that, or you don't deserve better, or there really isn't, for you, there isn't anything out there different than this. You know what I mean? Like it comes from that sort of space, a scarcity mindset. And with the Two of Swords in reverse, you broke free of this. You let it go. You were like, okay, this isn't working for me. It's actually keeping me stuck, and I don't want to be stuck anymore. It's an energy of, I can't move. I have to liberate myself. I have to free myself from this. I can't focus all my energy on just keeping this together and hope to continue to grow or develop or build as a human being, or as a spiritual being. It's like there's almost this, like, it comes from the gut, over and over and over again. The gut is saying to you, no, you can't, you're not thriving in this environment. You're not growing in this environment. And it's actually this relationship that's keeping you in this space. Or it's not even the relationship. The relationship is a symptom of something deeper. And in order for us to get past that in this life, in order for us to move beyond that space, that belief system, we have to let go of the things that reflect it. We have to kind of take the leap of faith into the unknown and say, there has to be better than this out there for me. There has to be, or even to say, I deserve, this is my life, and I deserve to grow in this life. I deserve to, experience, something beyond this. And if I stay in this space, this is all I'll ever know, and so it pushes you out of the nest, kind of, it pushes you to release all of it and liberate yourself. With the Ace of Swords, it is when you reach this Empress status that you truly see something, where like hindsight makes complete sense. You have, where you're like, you look back on it from a different vantage point and you can see it so clearly. And you also have command of the knowledge of it. Like you can name it, you can speak about it, you can say what it is. With the Five of Cups on the bottom of the deck, this is a past energy. It's reflecting on the past. It's looking at the past. And here, the past is what is holding us in this place. Some belief system, something that was established, all the things that didn't work out for you in the past, kind of made you believe that either this was good enough or, to be treated this way, or whatever it actually is. Or I don't even know if I really want to say or, because what my focus is going now to these Two of Cups, and it's kind of saying like, that's what I deserve. I deserve healthy relationships. I deserve relationships that reflect who I am now, not who I was when I got into this Two of Swords kind of mess. Yeah, so, wow. Again, it's talking about what you've learned from this experience and your command of the knowledge. Ace of Swords, Queen of Swords. The Four of Wands came out sideways. The Death card came out in reverse. So these two energies are kind of dancing with each other. And it's an energy where what we believe about what we deserve and what we're capable of reflects what we're willing to tolerate. And in a way, you know, the death card is kind of giving me something that should end, or something that really wasn't maybe even supposed to totally like last as long as it did. But there's something foundational inside that says, this is what I'm capable of manifesting. This is what I'm capable of getting. And that's why we don't close the cycle out. With the Queen of Swords, she knows from experience. She has higher wisdom. She's seen things clearly, and she's willing to cut things off. She's you know, in charge and protective of herself, and making decisions that are lucid and clear and in her highest and best good. And so, you know, she isn't going to continue on in some endless cycle of, you know, staying in places that aren't meant for her, basically. All right. Wow. Oh, wow. That was so crazy. When the Knight of Crystals, when I flipped it and it was in reverse and it was the Knight of Crystals, I was like, I kind of, like, my initial instinct was like, I don't like that very much. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't feel like that goes in the flow of this. And then I turned the deck over and the Knight of Swords is on the bottom. And I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. So this is talking about speed. This is talking about, you know, feeling like life is almost passing you by, or, you know, feeling like as hard as you're trying to make progress, you're never really making progress. You're just sort of staying stuck, and you feel like you're trying to put one foot in front of the other, but you don't seem to be making any ground. You don't seem to be covering any territory. It's just like you keep finding yourself sort of stuck in the same position. And even when you feel you're bailing yourself out, or even when you feel like, even if something looks good for a moment, like, oh, I am making progress, or maybe this time it'll be different, or, you know what I mean? It's like only to find it all undone again and you're in the same spot. And that's the stagnancy that was associated with that Two of Swords, right? And this is something that we've been experiencing, and it's kind of like continuously asking this question, why? What else do I do? What else do I try? What else could work? You know, with that Seven of Cups, Three of Cups energy, and then this Knight of Crystals, like, she's not even on a horse. She's just sitting in the middle of like a very wooded place that almost feels like entrapment, right? And it's in reverse. She's not going anywhere. She's not making any progress, as much as she's trying, as much as she's searching for a solution, looking for an answer. There's just no way out of this situation. She can't find it. And you see with this Knight of Swords, a very, very different energy, right? You see that she is on the precipice of this like new beginning, you know, sitting on the edge of this cliff, like the Fool card energy. And with the sword underneath, it's giving an homage, I guess, or like a reference to the Four of Swords, where the three swords are on the wall and the one sword is underneath the resting person. It's evidence of her healing. It's evidence of her new clarity. It's evidence of this. Sometimes you have to get yourself out of the situation, and you have to get a new perspective in order to see all the possibilities, or in order to see life as possibilities. So there's this major mind shift here of like, I have to make this work. I have to find a solution. I have to find an answer to this situation. I need to just get myself out of this environment, and then then it will all open up for me. Then I will see it differently, and it's through the path of healing that we shift this perspective. And also with the Knight of Swords, she goes from the slowest knight in the deck to the fastest knight in the deck. So this shift and this change in perspective, even though, this is a very rocky, jagged cliff, it wasn't an easy journey from here to here, right? Like, it required fortitude. It required perseverance. It required probably sometimes stepping back into the memory of this, or into this energy, or into this, this well-established path. And reminding myself, no, I don't want to be here. I spent plenty of time here. I don't, this isn't what I want. I want something different. And then finding the different, and it looks like this. It's very, very different, You have Justice and the Six of Crystals. This is karma. This is like something very deeply balancing out in the universe, What you have put out there is very different, I think, than what you've received. And this is where the universe comes in and says, okay, now is the time. Now. It's all out there in front of you. Okay, you're ready for it. This new beginning. Holy moly. Instead of searching for a solution, the solution appears to you because you're listening to you have the courage of your convictions. You're trading the 5 swords that left you perpetually in the state of confusion and state of defeatedness for listening to your intuition, trusting yourself. There's a huge, huge, huge difference, right, between these energies. One is I go to my brain to try to think it out, or to try to find a solution to a problem that has no solution. Or, and then the opposite of that is, I listen to my intuition, and when my intuition tells me there's no solution, I trust it and I shift, with the Strength card here, and the Devil was on the bottom of the deck, remember? This is just saying, this is where I overcome my lower vibrational tendencies. This is the reward for my strength, for overcoming these things that had kept me stuck for so long. Okay, so you're going into a time where there's a lot of freedom of movement. There's a very liberated kind of vibe here where it's like you have released yourself from some kind of shackles, and now you are able to like move freely about the cabin of life. All right, here we have it. Some of you may be traveling on an airplane. Okay, you have cold. You have we will be together again. We have you will always be my secret love. If you're dealing with a water sign, okay? If you're dealing with a fire sign, you are getting secret. It's hard for me to explain things. Guarded and annoyed. And if you are dealing with an earth sign, Lord, messages are falling out all over the place. What we have is soul recognition, honest. I am still moved by you. And your words speak to me like no others can. And then if you are dealing with an air sign, you're getting indecisive. I regret how I handled things before, twin flames, and I'm overcoming my fears. All right, guys, this is what I have for you. I really hope it helps. I hope it brought you some peace and clarity. If it did, let me know. Like, share, subscribe, comment. And sorry if things are coming out like erratically. I am trying, but I'm having some type of trouble uploading. And so that's why. All right. So bear with me, please. All right. I'm sending you off with all my very best. Always, always, always. Bye-bye.